Deviant.fun here. How are you doing? So, uh, today we bring you The Bridge by Peter J. Tomasi, illustrated by Sara DuVall, and it tells the story how the Roeblings family connected Brooklyn to New York with this special suspended bridge using technology that was state of the art at the time. Uh, so this is the Brooklyn Bridge. I think this book will talk dearly to the hearts of New Yorkers and Brooklyners. Is that how you say it? Probably. But still, for me, that never even saw the bridge, I can say it was a very interesting read. So Peter J. Tomasi has an introduction here. By the way, the book dates from 2019. It's an edition from 2019. We've got an interesting preface of Peter J. Tomasi talking about how he got the idea for the book, why he chose this story, because he lived near another one of the bridges that crosses from New York to Brooklyn, but it didn't have a juicy story like this one had. So he tries to stick to the facts. Of course, he adds some little ingredients in the plot, but he tries to stay faithful to what actually happened. Uh, so it was, I can't remember the year, 1883. So it was completed in 1883. It took almost 10 years to be completed, so it must have started in the 70s. It started in the 70s. And the book is very connected to this Roebling family. So the book starts with us seeing what will be our main protagonist, Wash Roebling, working in the factory of his dad, just doing small tasks. His dad is very strict. He is in the steel in area industry. They do wire cables. I think they do boats, icebreaker boats too. Everything that has to do with steel, they're on top of their game. They have the best wire. They just use the best steel for it. His dad is a very competent person, but he's also a very strict guy. So he even puts his kid, wakes up his kid in the morning and tells him he's going to get a stroll because he's getting his life too easy, and he drops him in a school where he's going to learn engineering. But he was never even hinted that he will be put away from his family for I think it was 4 years. And just like that, it just says, just write to your sisters and your mother, and that's it. It doesn't even say, write me, I want to know about you. He's very cold. He loves his son, but he treats him very harshly. Not that he is violent or aggressive, but he's very strict. And he treats him like a master to a pupil. That's how he sees him. He sees Wash as a successor of his factory, so he does invest a lot in him. That's his way of showing his love, but it's a weird way. Meanwhile, there's the North and South battle happening, but that doesn't play a big role here. This is where he meets what will be Emily Roebling, his wife. He will service in the war. The only aspect of the war that is interesting is that he plays a very important role by building bridges with whatever he has at his hands, so that the army can cross to the other side and fight the enemy. And he risks his life, and he immediately gets, and very fast, he does get recognition for his outstanding work, and goes up in the rankings until he reaches, I think, colonel ranking. That, I think that's how he leaves the army, and with a lot of fellows, and with a lot of praisers, because he did really brave things, not with his rifle, but courageous acts that saved many people, and that helped bring an end to the war. Okay, so then when does the book start departing from the father to son relation and the evolution in terms of age and character of Wash Roebling? Is the moment when his father suffers an accident, and he was such a stubborn guy and so strict, like I said, so pragmatic, so dogmatic, that he refused a treatment, and he ends up dying because of that. Wash never really forgives him for not being there with him, just because of his stubbornness. He didn't have to die. He died because he was stubborn as a mule, so he holds a grudge on his dead father on account of that. So, both of them had this idea of a connecting bridge from New York to Brooklyn, but the forces that be, being the political ones, weren't quite keen to the idea, but they always worked on the background because they were certain that it would happen someday. And one day it does happen. But that isn't there to realize the dream or help Wash doing it. So he has to undertake the mission on his own, and he has to convince the panel that is supervising the construction and putting the money forward that he is the guy to do it. And that's a pretty good speech that he does, a pitch that gets him the job. Then there's some explanation of how he did the bridge. I must confess I didn't understand exactly how the thing works, but it seems very interesting. It gives me. It sharpened my curiosity into understanding how this technology worked. So basically, he was using a technique where he would create a big structure that would sink gradually into the floor, but would have, using a pressurized air, it would create an area inside it where the workers could descend and dig up the rocks and dirt in the bottom, but having air to breathe. They will be isolated. They will be underwater, but completely isolated because of the air pressure difference from the river. It turns out that not everything is great, because this is a new technology. Nothing as big as this has ever been tried out, and as we know, pressure does things to our body. So there will be consequences around that, very bad consequences. You will have to go to the board of commissioners, let's say, and justify himself. He will lose confidence from them more than once. and he has to battle, and he's always very pragmatic, even when he has to say it will take 2 more years or $20 million more. He just does it in a very pragmatic way. It's a take it or leave it. He doesn't negotiate. I think he got it from his father. So there will be a lot of mishappenings during the construction. It won't be easy. Then he falls ill too, just like most of his comrades. He does hire a physician to when the deaths start growing in numbers, and that physician will also try to help him. But there will be a day where he can't work anymore. He just can't. Physically, he is not in shape to do it. So he starts transmitting the knowledge to his wife, and his wife becomes his eyes on the spot. And of course, he's got a team of technician engineers that supervise the bridge and that have always been working with him, so they do know their stuff. They just need instructions and they know how to make it happen. So he has complete trust in them. Her wife gets him a telescope so he can see the work from his window, because his window faces the bridge. And so he works at home. He does the plans, he does the drawings, he gives instructions, but his wife is the one that goes to the site and transmits the ideas. She even has to go to the commission and justify that it's still valid that her husband is not on the construction site, but as they can see, the bridge is getting constructed. There will be an interesting moment where Wash loses all his faith, but his wife saves the situation without him knowing. He will know afterwards, but it's a good thing that she did what she did. Here's the first crossing from one side of the river to the other side of the river. Of course, it should have been Wash doing it, but he just can't. His health doesn't allow him. But it was a big mark, a big occasion. Then there's a political mole. There's a guy that appears in the commission that is always against the construction of the bridge. He seems to have a hidden agenda, and he manages to sabotage, not physically sabotage, but he undermines the confidence that the other guys of the committee have on his work, and etc. And he manages to get Wash's company from not being able to use their own cables, which they know they are the best in the market, and that they are sure that they will pass the tests. And so there will be some conundrums around the cables. As you can see, I'm inspecting one of the cables that they were forced to use. So that's about it. So from what I've said, as you can see, it's a book that tells a tale. It doesn't feel like fiction. That's not what Tomasi meant. It's very descriptive, but it's easy to identify with the strong-willed engineer, and to be sympathetic to his cause, to his determination, and to admire him, and also to fall in awe with his wife's dedication. She took a job just for his husband to see his dream come true. She actually dedicated part of her life to something that was not her own, not her project, just to make the dream alive, and she was always very supportive. So it's very interesting to see that. So that's all I have to say about The Bridge by Peter J. Tomasi. I was a bit surprised to see how Peter J. Tomasi works outside of comics, caped comics, superheroes and etc. So he's got a very good writing. Yeah, he does write very well. And so if you like history-based books, this is one you should not miss. You should not miss out. It's really very interesting. Of course, it would be more, like I said, if we were New Yorkers or Brooklyners, well, we would really even appreciate it more, because we would be traversing the bridge and suddenly we would understand how the bridge was built, what difficulties it carried, what love and passion was put to its construction. So yeah, now I also feel the urge to cross this bridge someday. That's what the book will do to you. So great recommendation. The Bridge, Peter J. Tomasi, Sara DuVall in the illustrations. So that's all I have to say. So if you like the video, please like it. If you like seeing these reviews, these flash reviews as I call them, then please consider subscribing to the channel so that you get notified every time a new video is dropped. And of course, all the books that we show here are sold at Deviant.fun.biz, our online store. SSL secured, multiple means of payment, etc. So pay us a visit. We were also on Instagram and Facebook, and of course on YouTube in this channel, where you can see all these videos that you've probably been seeing. So without further ado, Deviant Fun out in 3, 2, 1. See you in the next video. Bye bye.